Yo, 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 it's your boy Casual Rail with the Silent A podcast. Man, we're back with another one and a quick one at that. Hey, we had a hell of a war last night. I mean, a hell of a war between two Mexican fighters. I mean, two Mexican warriors between Naverrete taking on Oscar Valdez. It was a classic. Straight classic that ESPN put on last night, aka Top Rank. Um, these two fighters, man, they really brought it and they put it on the line. They showed these fighters out here true warrior spirit. True warrior spirit. Don't give up. Keep fighting. Keep going. They both had a lot against them in that fight. I mean, of course, one fighter came out looking a little bit better than the other, with Oscar Valdez's eye being swollen shut. And then, Navarrete breaking his hand, or presumed to have broken his hand in that fight, his right hand at that. But he never stopped throwing it. He kept going, kept pushing through. He had Oscar Valdez hurt a few times in the middle of the fight, as well as Oscar Valdez landed some clean shots on Navarrete as well, and pressed forward as he was down and his back against the wall at certain times in this fight. But he never gave up, and at certain times it looked like he could almost stopped Navarrete. Now, I might be reaching a little bit, capping a little bit, but he definitely had hurt Navarrete, and he had pressed the issue. We never knew what could have happened, but he definitely gave it his all. They both went back and forth, and we believe it was a closer fight than what the cards said. I mean, and not that the cards were wide or disrespectful or no robbery or anything. It was just that we thought it was probably within 2 to 3 rounds, which matched some of the cards, but unanimous decision for Navarrete and a well-deserved victory. The better fighter won that night. The right person won that night. The right fighter won. Hell, the right warrior won that night. There should be nothing that Oscar Valdez should hang his head low on. He gave it his all. He fought the way he was supposed to fight, and that is not to give up. He could have switched some things up with his game plan and maybe did a little bit more counter punching as Navarrete was pushing forward, especially when his hand got hurt and trying to get Oscar out of there. There were certain times that he was pressing and trying to get Oscar out, and Oscar really wasn't out of there yet. He got caught clean, but he looked more hurt than what he was in certain cases. And not to say that Oscar was not hurt, because there were certain times I thought the fight was going to be over and done. But had he focused a little bit more counter punching, kind of what Canelo Alvarez does when he gets in trouble, using his head movement to slip in a little bit better shots, in particular the uppercut, it might have helped him out a little bit more, especially in the later rounds, especially as his eye started to swell shut. But hey, there's nothing wrong with the way it went. It was a classic. It was showing two fighters that just let it all hang out. And I want all the other fighters out there to take heed and watch this fight of how you lay it on the line. When you want something, you want to go get it, you go get it. All right. And this is with anything in life that you do. Whatever you're going to be, any form of profession that you're doing in life. I don't care where you're at, high, low, making X amount of money, no money, whatever you want to be in life, whatever it is, whatever profession you want to do, when it's on the line and you have that opportunity to be one of the best and challenge yourself, you lay it out. And that's what these two men did last night, Navarrete and Oscar Valdez. They laid it out on the line and entertained the fans while doing it, but more importantly, challenged themselves and saw where each of themselves were. And they left nothing on the table, and they have nothing to be ashamed of. That was a classic fight. Shouts out to Navarrete for being retaining his title. Shout out to Oscar Valdez for giving it a shot. I know they want to do a rematch. He might want to wait a little bit, heal up, look at the tape, get a little bit better game plan, change it up a little bit, because he did not hurt Navarrete as much as he was hurt. And I mean physically, meaning, Navarrete looked clean after the fight, like he had not been in a war, even outside of his hand being hurt. Versus Oscar Valdez, his eye was shut completely. And granted, Oscar Valdez's eye tends to shut normally, but that night, brother, it was closed. It was closed. So we'll see what happens if there's a rematch or not. I definitely will tune in to watch that. It was a hell of a fight. Again, it was shout out to both warriors. I know Shakur Stevenson was looking at that fight and seeing what happened as he was called out by Naverrete. But with that said, man, hats off to both fighters. We had a true classic fight last night. Boxing has been great for 2023. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it pushing to where we're at now. This is great, man. I mean, as a boxing fan, this has just been one of the best years going, when it looked like we were headed downhill and nearly about to close out the shop. And we're getting blockbuster after blockbuster. Every freaking month is a Black Friday month that we're having a hell of a fight that's turning heads and making history. It's amazing, man. Amazing. Talked too long on this one already. As you know, we get excited about especially great classic fights as this one was. Shouts out again to both fighters. If you didn't watch it, go back and catch it. It was a classic. Again, this is your boy Casual Rail with the Silent A podcast. Until next time, peace.